Okay, we're going to share some trucking stuff with you guys today. So it's this is going to be applied for people who are sharing the road with trucks, um, especially in the wintertime. I want to keep the truck drivers safe, and I want to keep you guys driving your four wheeler safe too. So if you are a truck driver, you're the number one thing that drives you absolutely ham banana sandwich is sharing the way that people behave around big trucks. It is absolutely infuriating. And if you're one of those people that cuts off trucks or whatever, you know what? Don't do it. Stop it. It is the most dangerous thing you can do for everybody involved. You cutting off a truck could kill people. All right, not just you and the truck driver, but anybody that's traveling alongside the truck. It's bad. All right, so let me tell you something. If you guys are in the mountains, right, the safest place for you to be while a truck is going up a hill is in front of that truck. Don't be behind it, because you don't know if the trucker's hauling a super heavy load and he's going to have to he's going to lose speed trying to climb the hill or whatever. And it's just safer if you're out in front of the truck. And if you're passing a truck, wait till the entire length of the truck is clear. Right? Don't go just cruising up alongside him and hang out there. Wait till the entire lane alongside the truck is clear and there's enough room out in front of the truck so that when you go past him, you can pull out and you can merge in front of him without being too close to the truck. Okay? That is how you pass a big truck. Because every 8 to 10 seconds, his eyes are in that mirror looking for you. So if he can see you enter the no zone, which alongside the truck, and then he goes back to his other mirrors, blah, 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 and then he can see your car exit the no zone alongside of the truck, he knows that that space is clear. Okay, so don't hang out alongside the trucks, especially on the passenger side. If you see a truck struggling to climb a hill and he's in the left hand lane, slow down, create a gap for him to get over into that right hand lane so that everybody can get around that truck. Because nobody wants. And what it was is, who knows? The driver might have had the truck for his first time climbing the hill in that truck. You never know. Sometimes they have the same truck every day. Sometimes they don't. And he thought he could climb the hill. He was doing good, and all of a sudden he missed a gear, or the truck wasn't as powerful as he thought it was. So if you're driving up a mountain and you see a truck in the left-hand lane and he's got his blinker on, back that traffic up behind you and let him get over. And then everybody's happier. Now, if you're going down the hill in the mountains, if you're going downhill, the safest place to be is behind the truck. Because if that truck driver doesn't have the experience to stab brake or feather brake or Jake brake or whatever, and he's burned up his brakes, you don't want to be in front of 180,000 pounds or 80,000 pounds of death and steel that's out of control. So if that truck is in the right hand lane and he's coming down, most passes in the mountains or anywhere else have a truck speed, and those trucks need to try to keep those speeds, 35 miles an hour or whatever it is. Be behind the truck, create space. You don't want to be in front of it. If he loses control, loses his brakes, if you're behind the truck, you can stop and make adjustments and everything, and nobody gets hurt. Okay. That being said, winter driving conditions. Okay. You think you guys have a hard time seeing stuff in snow and slush and everything else? The truck drivers know better. They're looking down, 50 some odd feet of truck and trailer, and they've got a tiny little, foot long, 12-inch by 6-inch mirror that's all covered in ice and snow because they didn't pre-trip their mirror heaters or whatever, and it's all iced up. They can't see you either. So take that stuff into consideration. Give in the ice and snow, give trucks more room. Because there's nothing worse than being the truck driver, climbing a hill, and somebody cuts you off while you're climbing a hill in the snow. Guess what? You could create a condition where the truck has to come to a complete stop in the ice and snow, and guess what? He goes backwards down that hill because he's lost traction and momentum. That's dangerous as hell. So give the trucks room in the snow, you know. And if you're in those kind of conditions, um, as a driver of big trucks, you know, there's nothing worse than people doing dumb stuff in front of you. So if you know that the roads are they've salted and ice, and you're doing that thing where you're throwing them 10-foot rooster tails of road slime everywhere, before you merge in front of a truck, give a guess to make sure that all that road slime isn't ending up on his windshield. Because he's probably got his defroster going full tilt, and as soon as that stuff hits the windshield, it dries and turns into basically dried mud on the windshield. And now he's got to scrape that off as he's trying to maintain control of the truck as it's going up or down the hill, blah blah blah. And now he can't see nothing. Safest thing I can say is give the trucks room. Going uphill, going downhill. If you're in city streets, you come up to a red light, don't park next, or don't come to a stop next to the truck. Because here's the kicker: is you guys sit there and say, "Oh, it's so slippery and everything." Well, guess what? When that truck goes to take off, it can slip and slide too. And there ain't nothing scarier than being blocked in right next to the drive axle of a semi truck, and he goes to take off and he slips sideways and just slams right into the side of you. He's got no more control over it than you guys would if you did the same thing taking off from a light. So if you come to a light and it's snowing and stuff outside, don't, unless you know you're going to be like the first car in line or whatever, right? Don't come to a stop next to the truck. Let the truck have that space. Because there's a good chance, and even if you're coming up to a red light and you see that there's a big truck up there, you don't want to be next to the side of that truck when the trailer decides to grip and slip and it slides into the other lane. In the bad weather condition, give the trucks room. You'll be happier that you don't have a bizarre car accident and the truck drivers are just trying to get through their day, putting in their 12 or 14 or 16-hour day trying to get that stuff done. If you give the trucks room, nobody gets hurt. And it inconveniences you 20 or 30 seconds. Well, guess what? Better to arrive alive than spend 15 seconds dead or die over 15 seconds or 30 seconds worth of time. When the weather's bad, you know, you guys know the rules. You leave early, you know, give time for traffic accidents and stuff like that. But give the trucks room on the highway. Most of the drivers, not all the drivers, but most of the drivers are the most courteous, hardworking, uh, attentive people on the road. I mean, and if you guys are crowding them and making their lives difficult for no reason other than to save you 30 seconds to work, you know, your boss isn't going to cream you over a 30-second tardiness if the roads are bad. He might give you a little grief about it. Well, you should have left the house a little earlier. But you're not going to lose your job over it. You could lose your life if you crowd up on a truck when the roads are bad. That being said, just give the trucks room. Stop. I mean, if you guys think trucks have a hard time stopping on the dry roads, we slam on our brakes on ice and snow, all bets are off. We could end up sideways for all we know. Especially if the truck's not fully loaded and it's only partially loaded and the weight's not distributed inside the trailer quite right. You could have distal changes in braking pressure and all this other stuff to factor in. And that, like I said, that truck could jackknife when it slams on its brakes just because the road surface is slippery. If the truck driver is making turns, wait, because if you've ever seen the treads on the front tires of a semi truck, there's no cross hatching. They're straight. They are straight layers like that. The steer tires have no cross tread on them whatsoever, unless they're like some sort of weird heavy duty tire. But 90% of them are just straight. So when they turn the wheel on ice, guess what? It turns into a squeegee, and the truck driver turns, and the truck keeps going straight or some variation in between. He could take out a traffic light just because the roads are crappy. So if trucks are turning, give them space. God knows you don't want to be tangled up in the middle of that if the truck driver goes to make a right-hand turn around, one of those bridge line exits or something like that, and you're on the inside of it, and all of a sudden the tractor snaps around, slaps the car back up, and slaps it up underneath the trailer tires or some other crazy thing. I've seen it all. Give the truck space in the bad weather. It keeps everybody safe. And like my buddy Rob said, a lifetime alive is better than 10 seconds dead any day of the week. And just because you got four-wheel drive on your car, the joke is four-wheel drive don't help you four-wheel stop. So just because you can get going 65 miles an hour on the ice and snow don't help you stop at all. We've all seen the videos of the drivers in Texas and Wyoming and stuff where they're just coming barreling down the road because everyone's got four-wheel drive and they can't stop. And it turns into like a 200 car pileup because everybody can get going, but nobody can stop. So be careful and give the trucks room. And if you've got your four-wheel drive engaged, you shouldn't be doing anything faster than 45 miles an hour anyways. And if you feel like you have to drive faster than that, stay home. Quit hurting people. Because 90% of the accidents truck drivers get into has nothing to do with their skill or ability. Somebody else did something stupid in front of them, and they're just hanging onto the wheel, hoping to God that they don't die. I have had 4 accidents in my entire driving career, and none of them were my fault. Not a one. Had a drunk driver in a BMW sideswipe the backside of my trailer, 3 o'clock in the morning. Not my fault. I had the right of way. I was actually passing through a green lighted intersection for me. He had a sign that said no right turn on red, and he was drunk. I thumped on the throttle, hopefully to change the position of the trailer so that just enough so that he wouldn't end up underneath the trailer tires. I thumped on the throttle because I saw him. He wasn't really slowing down when he came up to the intersection. As I came up through the intersection, I romped on it so that if he hit anywhere on the side of the truck, it was going to be the back of the trailer so that he wouldn't end up under the trailer. And I was doing 45 miles an hour. And in that 4-second period, I went from 45 to 47, maybe 48 miles an hour. But when he did hit when he did hit me, he hit the trailer tires instead of getting the nose of his car up underneath the trailer. And I don't know the physics of it or whatever, but the other accident I got into, icy conditions. I had the truck in reverse trying to hit a dock with chains on. The truck was in reverse and I slid forward down the hill. Nothing I could do about it. When I finally gave up having the truck in reverse, I dropped the truck into a forward gear, thumped the throttle to straighten out the truck and trailer so I didn't jackknife off the road, and buried the front end of the truck into a berm of snow at the bottom of the hill. And thank God nobody else was involved with that. Kind of when you make deliveries in trucks, usually you go in places where they're, not always, but when there's not a whole lot of people around. But there's so much stuff that happens that has nothing to do with me or the driver of the big truck. But guess what? We get the ticket for being there because we're considered the professional. And because we sit higher up off the ground, we see things happen in traffic before everybody else does. It's one of the interesting advantages is you can see trouble coming. And if you were trained right, you're using the Smith system and you're looking down the road as far as you can. But anyways, guys, just wanted to take a minute to share with you that the safety being around truck stuff. Like I said, I could talk about this stuff for days and different experiences and different scenarios and stuff. But the main thing you need to take away is Give the trucks room when the roads are bad. Lots of room. If you think I don't know, give them more room. All right? Quit being jerks to big trucks. Because at the end of the day, most of the truck drivers are, like I said, are the most courteous, caring individuals. They're going to be the one. If you're pulled up, if your car breaks down on the side of the road or in the middle of an intersection, the person that comes out to help you is probably going to be a truck driver, either on duty or off duty. He's going to help you get the car out of the middle of the intersection because he doesn't want to see another accident where somebody gets hurt. Because we've seen enough. All right, guys. Like, subscribe, share. We love you. See you next time.